We are on show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to my exclusive show today. We're going to have a serious conversation today about something that I've been thinking about and then learning about for the last probably week and a half now. With me today, and you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, we have Purnima and Balaji. Is that correct?
Yeah, Balaji
Yes.
Ramamurthy.
Okay,
Yes.
fantastic. So, for those of you who do not know, and I know a lot of you have been paying attention because I've been posting about this for the last week all over all my socials, because I do believe in this cause that we're about to talk about tonight. Um, but these are the parents of of Suchir Balaji. If for those of you who do not know who that is, he is the AI whistleblower, is what the media is calling him, and he was about to blow a big story that was going to potentially harm or set back Open AI from progressing to what they were trying to do, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But we have about a half hour with Balaji and Purnima, so let's just go through a chain of events, okay, and just explain to the audience what we've learned and where we're going to go from here. So let's start with you guys being notified um, of his passing, and how did that happen? Did the authorities contact you?
No, my son was not in touch. Our son was not in contact with us for 2 days. Saturday, when we called him, 22nd, he spoke to Balaji at 7:15 p.m. Then Saturday, I called him at 12:15 p.m. His phone rang once and went to voicemail. We believed he's busy. He's generally doing backpacking, hiking, biking, motorcycle in the weekends. So we gave him benefit of doubt. On 25th, the Monday, I went and knocked on his apartment door, being afraid why he's not calling us back. Door did not open. Nothing struck to me at that point of time. Maybe he's in a co-working space because he was going to co-working space all the time. I waited till the evening. 5:30, I called a dispatch, asked them to go check on him. When I called the leasing office, they said they won't allow me to enter the apartment because of the security protocols.
Right,
When I called, if the police come, we can. They said I called the dispatch at 5:30 p.m. Had them go over, but they just went and came back saying we don't have the keys to enter the building. Leasing office is closed. They probably could have called the emergency services and gone in the same day. They didn't. Well, I had to wait till next morning. At 10 o'clock, I went to Union City Police Station. That's where we live, gave a complaint, missing person complaint. She said the police will said like dispatch will contact you. Waited for half an hour to 45 minutes, no one contacted. At 12 o'clock, I called the dispatch in San Francisco. I want to get into the apartment. I want to know. If, can you
right,
please confirm if my son's laptop, toothbrush, and all are not there? So we know he's traveling or something, so we know he's safe. And they said, ma'am, if you are there in the building, we can open the door. Okay, I started immediately. I was there at 1 o'clock. 109, two people came from dispatch. They went in along with the leasing office manager, Corey. They asked me to wait outside. Went inside and came back in 5 to 10 minutes. Did you enter the apartment? Did you find anything? No, we haven't entered the apartment. We're waiting for two officers to come. This was around 1:25. 2 o'clock, two other officers came. They went inside. They came back and they said, ma'am, you should go home. We'll let you know in 4 to 5 hours of time. I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm waiting here. They said, we're waiting for two more officers to come. We have security protocol. Who are those two officers? Let me call them, I said. They said, it's going to take 2 hours for them to come. At 3:20, I saw a long white van coming in. Moment I saw that van, the instinct was very strong, something is wrong. Then I saw a stretcher coming out. It's heartbreaking. At that until that time I had no idea my son was in danger. When I asked them, they said there's a dead body inside the apartment. I asked, is it number 409? They didn't say. They just went inside. That's when I called my best friend. I told her what happened, but they still didn't tell me. It was 3:20. By 4 o'clock, they made a determination it's suicide. They just took 40 minutes. And then they said, you wait inside the leasing office, will come. Medical examiner came. He handed over the apartment keys to me, and he made me sign a piece of paper, and he said, our son shot himself. At that point of time, I tried to make the medical examiner aware that he's a whistleblower. October 23rd, he went to New York Times. He was reluctant to listen. He said, we'll release the body tomorrow. The first thing here is none of the protocols were followed. Next day, they within 24 hours, they released the body. They didn't do any autopsy at all of the wound. Nothing was performed. They did a CT scan, they released the body, and they also misled us. We were traumatized, we were shocked. They gave us all kind of horror stories and prevented us from seeing his body. Now we know why that is, because there were wounds on his body. They wanted to cover up.
So I have a question for you. What did they tell you where the gunshot was?
It was here, straight down
between the
So,
eyebrows.
between the eyebrows, and also it's not straight, right? If you somebody does themselves, it was downward angle. That cannot be
right.
done by the.
Usually it'll be up.
It's like someone standing has shot down. That was the angle. And also, it
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
seem like it had a direct contact. It's intermediary distance. It's not direct. That's the autopsy report. It doesn't say someone, like if someone does suicide, it's directly like this, right? No, it
Right.
was from a distance. So the separate distance there, that's another proof we have. And also there is head injury reported in the autopsy report. At the same time, we saw the blood spatters near the sink, and there is sink on the blood. The dustbin has fallen down. So this, it's very horrific scene, brutal assault, brutal murder, cold
So
blooded.
his body was found where?
It was found in the apartment on 11/26. We don't have the pictures. I called the police and they say he was lying on his back. And then I called a doctor who did the medical autopsy. She said he was sitting down from the bloodshot. So what we understand is they first hit him, they paralyzed him, then they made him sit on his knee and they shot him. And then after being shot, we see the signs like there's a blood on the wall. He tried to survive, he tried to escape, he's moved, and the blood is moved, is no more. And you know what, despite of all these evidences, we question medical examiner. What made them think it's suicide? Why are they ignoring all these signs? This is very valid question. I also have a screenshot of our plea to medical examiner's office, giving the autopsy report, giving the circumstances that our son was a key witness for a federal lawsuit against OpenAI and Microsoft. He was named a week ago, but still they didn't pay any attention. And like, we tried for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and now we want some higher authorities like FBI to look into it. It's a nexus. It's not one person.
Right. So when I watched the video that you guys had done with the investigative journalists when you guys went into the apartment and looked at everything, and what I got out of that was basically the same thing as what you just said, is that it looked like a struggle happened. There was
Yes.
blood found in several different rooms. Uh,
Yes.
to me, that there's some red flags there. I don't.
Exactly.
I have my theory, and once we're done talking and I finish up the show, I'm going to map out my theory for the audience as to what I think happened and why it happened. Um, so he was in a struggle. He had blunt force trauma in the back of his head, right?
They didn't
So he,
say anything about the head. And you know what? You may want to notice that in the police report that Mercury News reported, they don't mention the cause of death. That's why we want a toxicology report. And also, the bullet didn't touch his brain. He hasn't died immediately. They've done something else to kill him.
oh my gosh.
Yes.
I did not know that. You can't read that on the internet.
This kind of thing happened for someone who spoke the truth, who stood for ethics, who had in schools in America they teach them you have freedom of speech, you can speak the truth. This kid believed he will be protected. He had no idea that the cost life is so cost. He has to pay such costly price for it for speaking the truth. He was heard that ethics are in entire art community is saying your son did a lot for us. He fought for the truth. He didn't think of himself, but we can't accept that he risked his life. It's not right.
So after some time has gone by, and you've gone back and you've started asking these questions,
Yes.
have has anyone given you any answers?
No one. No one. We
Like,
had an attorney also, and that attorney wrote to chief of police, and he told chief of police agree to do the homicide investigation. That was around Christmas time, 23rd or 24th, and then he got back saying that no, it's a suicide. And then we told him, did you check the crime scene photos? Did you look at the autopsy report? Did you look at any evidence as our attorney before ruling it's a suicide? Why are you doing this? And he had no answer.
yeah, the procedure seems to be out of order, um, especially with a high profile case like this. You would think
Yeah.
they would want to be very thorough to have all
Right?
the answers, and they were
Exactly.
not. They were quick to rule it a suicide, and they've stuck by that. So that's disturbing. And I believe that the San Francisco medical examiner and the chief of police of San Francisco have some kind of answers that they need to be asked questions. They need to be held accountable for what happened. And I think having your own forensics examinations are going to be the way to go. Now, I do understand that when we were talking, you said that you had made a post on X, and you got some support from who?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk himself. And what did Elon Musk say?
Elon Musk said that it doesn't look like a suicide. And also to Mario's post, he said it's disturbing.
And I would agree with Elon Musk. I think he would know better than a lot of people. Now, you did bring up that there were 3 security cameras on his apartment building, right? Did I get that right? And two were deactivated.
They didn't do any proper work actually.
No, the camera,
Camera.
only one camera in the front. There's no two cameras.
Oh, okay. That is something that we mentioned to our attorney also. To the main entrance, to the lobby, there is a CCTV camera. There are 2 more entrances to the building. There is a staircase to reach there without having to go through the CCTV camera, which was overlooked by police. And the only reason medical examiner's office gave to shut down these cases, we didn't find anything in CCTV camera. Is that sufficient? When we had so much, oh, the careless answer, oh, the gunshot angle is weird, that doesn't mean anything. We're closing the case. That
Yeah,
how.
Right.
there is another entrance. Third one is from the garage. They can come through garage.
And also the side door. And then we wrote again, we sent the pictures to medical examiner's office, and we saw, how do you say there was a head injury? When there is a head injury, how do you say these things? Look at the pictures. They haven't even responded to us. You know what? Just because we are immigrants, just because we are minority, how can we lose humanity in America? This is brutal.
I highly agree with you. I'm disturbed by their lack of empathy towards this case. Just to blatantly ignore you is telling. It's telling. That tells me something. Um, so I definitely agree with you, and we have lost our compass in this country, and I empathize, with you, as your son was brilliant. I've done a lot of research on him, and he was a brilliant young man, and he walked away from fame and fortune to do the right thing for humanity. And a lot of people are not seeing that when they look at, the news articles. Your son did a miraculous thing, and he paid the price for it. And I think it's due that we get to the bottom of this and find out at least who did it and how do we get justice. This isn't how America's supposed to work. And I think and I'll get into it, but I'm going to ask you, you brought up when we talked that someone had gotten into his laptop. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Suchir was supposed to have key evidence. He had some documents that was supposed to be produced in the court that would prove the copyright violation. So we suspect they have
Right.
ransacked his apartment to search for the. He's very cautious, very safe. He must have put it in a pen drive or something. His pen drive was missing, and his apartment was ransacked.
Right. Was it ransacked the after the death,
That we
or was
don't.
it just
We were not inside. We don't know.
okay? Okay. Um,
Like it
I
is after.
mean,
It is looks like it's after, um, because he was brushing his teeth and doing a
Huh.
regular thing. So if he's ransacked before, he
He
will
would
have
have doubted. Yeah.
doubted. Yeah.
right,
It's after.
right.
At
Yeah, he
10
probably
o'clock,
wouldn't have entered. Yeah,
at 10 o'clock, we see the browser history. After that, we don't see the browser history on his computer. And what we see is he was brushing his teeth. They probably were inside the apartment already. He went at 7:15 to get his dinner and come back. So they've attacked him from behind. They paralyzed him. This is a hitman's job.
And he was having a earbud in his ear,
Yeah.
listening to some music. Music usually he does. That was fallen on the
Earbud has fallen
blood
down
spot.
because
It
of
is one of the item on that. Yeah.
because of the assault.
right. So it would have been easy for somebody to sneak up behind him when he had his earbuds in or whatever.
Yes.
Did you notice any forced entry in the doorway? Did it look like that somebody broke the door locks or
No,
anything?
Didn't
it
see
didn't
that
seem to.
actually.
They must have made the keys. I
They
think.
must have duplicated the keys. But what we noticed is there's a separate entrance in the side. Through that they can go through. They can climb the stair and get into his apartment directly. Unfortunately, apartment next door is vacant.
Right.
There's no one next door. So even if he screamed or cried, there's no one to hear.
Wow. Wow. What I mean, it's they had all the advantage for sure,
Well
and
planned.
Very well
yeah,
planned.
right, very blind, and it would be interesting to find out how someone would have obtained an extra key to his apartment. I would be willing to theorize how that happened, without pointing too many fingers. But I do think that this does seem like a very disturbing chain of events. That this is to me, it looks like a cover up. I'm just going to say it. This looks like a cover up, and they're just trying to shut all the doors and hope that time passes to where everyone just gives up on it. And I can promise you that until you two tell me to stop, I will continue to bring this up every single day on every social media outlet I have. I'm reaching out to everybody. I just reached out to some sources I have in India. I'm trying to bring in everybody I can. Like you have found out, there's a lot of people that are not willing to get involved in this. I've run into that same thing in my research with some of the people I've tried to contact. So the other problem that we run into is the holidays have screwed up a lot of, everybody is not at the office. So I'm hoping on Monday when I go reevaluate everybody that I've contacted, and I recontact them, that I will start to get some answers, or at least people that can point me in a certain direction. I still have a lot of routes that I can go with this. But I'm just after I started realizing like everyone is on vacation. So I'm going to have to, on Monday, I have a lot of other sources that I can reach out to hopefully get us pointing in a direction. Have you guys tried the consulate in India?
Oh,
Yeah, we communicated to
we
them.
communicated
Yeah,
to them.
we hope
Okay,
we'll get some traction in that. Yeah.
okay. Were they any help?
Because I'm an American citizen. I'm naturalized and I've become a citizen. So their interest is kind of little there.
Right, right. So you technically don't fall under their jurisdiction.
And also, Suchir was an American citizen. So
Right.
they, you know what, they're pushing on America to give justice. This is an internal matter. I don't know how our Prime Minister of India will navigate this. We're trying to bring the attention of MEA, Ministry of External Affairs. We're doing everything, both in India and in US.
But we got more uh, traction, we can say, in India only, because after a Mercury publication, it went viral in India. So we
Right.
have a coverage there.
I
The,
figured this would be big news back in India. They do pay attention to a lot. I watch a lot of news in India.
yeah,
For what I do, I watch all the countries, so I kind of have a good idea what's going on. But India has been paying attention to this. Actually, you've gotten more coverage from India and other small media outlets than you have from any of the big. The big media is not covering this at all. So
Except,
I have, right, yeah. So I have done a lot of work to try to like kind of call them out on social media. Say, why are you guys covering this? Why are you not covering this? Um, and I think with who we're dealing with here is the reason why. Um, and once we get off, I'm going to map that all out,
yes.
and so I think we probably will come up with some of the same end of this. Uh, to me, it's obvious what happened and who did what. It's just going to be a matter of tracing it back, and eventually I will find a trail that will trace. I'm good at tracing money, so I'm gonna find out who paid who.
exactly, exactly. I don't think I would not want to comment on Ministry of External Affairs, but like it's the collateral between two countries, right? It's the best interest of economy. So I think
Yes,
we have to fight for our own justice here. And I'm little surprised that why we understand CNN is democratic, but there are so many other TV channels. Why no one wants to cover us? Why?
it is a, and it's sad to say this, but at the end of the day, this is a money transaction for everybody. Uh, this is open AI is the future, and every major outlet is looking at it that way.
Right.
And I disagree. I think it's a curse. I think OpenAI is a curse. But every time I look into these guys, I see something else I don't like. And so I'm going to try to bring that to light as well. Some of the issues that I see that is, I saw a quote in one of the media outlets where Suchir was quoted as saying that that OpenAI is a danger to humanity. And I started thinking about that and I thought, what is he talking about? And so I started looking into OpenAI, and I now I understand what he's talking about. This is a danger to humanity, and they're going to do everything they can to keep this
Under the
system
carpet.
moving forward. Right. And the good thing that we have that's playing in our favor is Elon Musk is in the middle of a suit with OpenAI co-founder Sam Altman. So I'm going to be watching that suit very carefully to see what happens. I'm hoping that Elon will see it through and it'll be the beginning of the end of OpenAI. He has that ability to do that to them, and I hope that it happens. Um, Basically, Sam Altman is trying to control who is investing into OpenAI. He wants to keep people like Elon Musk out that are going to come in and try to change Sam Altman's narrative. So I think that's what we're running. There's a power struggle going on, and I think a lot of the media outlets don't want to get involved in that power struggle, especially since we're going into the transition between Biden to Trump. That's a
Right.
whole other factor to weigh in. Nobody knows how that's gonna go. So we are in kind of a bad situation right now, as far as you guys trying to get answers, me trying to help you get answers, where everyone's just sitting around going, well, let's just wait until January 20th and
Right.
then we'll see what happens. So like I said, I have already put out inquiries to Kash Patel. Hopefully he gets brought in as FBI director, because he's going to be the one. He's going to be the guy that's going to start that's going to make somebody investigate this. And I think he is a very, very probable asset that we'll have. I have met Kash Patel, and he is an unbelievable humanitarian. He believes in people, and he believes in justice of the United States. So I have high hopes that once he actually gets his director power, that this case is going to start moving. One thing that you have to think about when we're looking at this case is people. There's so many people involved, and so many high authority people involved, so many billionaires involved. I mean, we're just small fish in a big pond. So it's strategically, if I'm Kash Patel, or if I'm Elon Musk, or if I'm any of the people that could be assets to this case, I'm going to not tip my hand. I'm going to stay quiet, because I don't want them to get rid of evidence or think that we're still pursuing this. So I do have hopes that here in the next week and a half, that we're going to start seeing something move in our favor. So what we want to do is just be patient and continue to follow through, keep this case alive in social media, talk about it every day. I've been doing it, and I want everybody to hear you guys' story. I want everyone to understand how great of an American, how great of a human being your son was, and it's a tragedy what happened to him, and that we need to get justice for him. And,
Exactly.
and he had such a bright future, and he had these projects. He was getting ready to start his own startup. He had, when I look at his behavior leading up to the suicide, I don't see depression. I see an ambitious young man trying to pave his own way to help people. And
Right.
those ambitious people do not kill themselves. It doesn't happen. So forensically, in the psychology world, he's not a candidate for suicide. So that was my first red flag when I started looking into Suchir. I thought, this kid has everything going for him. He's happy. He didn't have a girlfriend, right?
He,
Just
he
casual
had a
friends.
long back, but not currently.
Currently, just
Right.
friends.
Yeah. So he didn't
But
have
he
any
had
of that, like relationship issues.
no, he didn't have any relationship issue. He
Right.
had fun life. His friends were always with him. He had a motorcycle. He was going on hiking trips, backpacking trips. He just attended a backpacking trip in Catalina Islands. Poor boy, he celebrated his 26th birthday on November 21st. 22nd, they ended his life. The way I look at it is 18th, when they filed the lawsuit, filed him as evidence, they would have ended him immediately. He had a
Yeah.
few days of extension because he was away, he was with friends. They were waiting
Right.
for him to be alone. Waited till
Right.
10 o'clock in the night to silently kill him.
And one thing to note, and I'm going to recover it once we're done here, is Suchir was the key witness to the
Yes,
copyright infringement case.
yes, he had
So
doc.
without him, the New York Times, this case falls apart, and everybody else who attached themselves to that copyright infringement suit. So as soon as they found Suchir deceased, the New York Times had to drop their case against OpenAI. So that's how important your son was to this case, and it gives its motive. That is a motive. So for San Francisco to behave the way that they did in the autopsy and in the investigation is a travesty. And I certainly hope that the powers that be, when they take over their power, will look into this and right this wrong. And so we can let Suchir rest. I regret that I was not able to meet him. He seems like probably the greatest young mind that I probably would ever come into contact with. And I highly appreciate you guys coming on here and sharing your story. And we'll keep into contact like we have, and hopefully we'll come up with some kind of solution to this issue. But I'm going to keep fighting until you guys tell me to stop fighting. So
We will fight till the last breath. We won't give up.
He was a fighter. We should be like him. Yeah.
He inherited mental strength from us, probably. So we were always very strong, and even now we didn't wait one day. 27th onwards, we have been calling homicide, calling police, calling coroner, calling medical examiner. Within a week we did a second autopsy. We didn't give up at all. We're not even grieving. Day and night fighting for justice. I'm a grieving mother, and I know I lost the precious gift. It's not just me, a grandson, a cousin, a nephew. He's been lost, and his friends loved him so much. So many friends have lost him. OpenAI employees were grieving a lot, it seemed. They had to get grief counseling. So world is missing him. And he was planning to do something in non-profit, in medical field for humanity. It's humanity that's missing him.
right. I have not I have not seen a negative thing about your son anywhere as much as I've dug. He is a true human being with a golden heart, and he's going to be missed, and we're going to make this right by him. And one way or the other, we're going to make it happen.
Thank you.
So I want to thank you guys for coming on, and we'll keep in contact, and I hope that we can help you, and just let me know if things pop up, some new information, and we'll keep reporting it to everybody and letting everybody know this is what's going on.
Thank you so much for hosting us. Thank you for hearing our story. Thank you for fighting for Suchir.
You're very welcome, and I bless you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so there's our interview, and now I'm going to get into the nitty gritty. I do believe in this whole thing. I do not like seeing miscarriages of justice that happen. It disturbs me. I've seen it so many times in my previous life in law enforcement. I've seen these dirty little things happen. So let's get into it and go through some of the things that we didn't get a chance to talk about. So one thing, OpenAI co-founder, CEO Sam Altman, who we just realized now is OpenAI is worth $157 billion right now as a startup. It's the fastest growing startup in America. Sam Altman directly supervised Suchir. So this isn't just a random employee in a giant corporation. This is a guy who worked directly with Sam Altman. Sam Altman knows this guy. He knows Suchir, like enough to where Sam Altman would respond to Suchir's post on social media. There's a lot of history. Sam Altman gave a personal message when Suchir was found deceased in his apartment. So there is a relationship here. And this isn't just an employee of some rich billionaire high up the ladder. There's a direct connection relationship here. So Sam Altman would know directly what Suchir was thinking and trying to do. And Suchir was not trying to hide his intentions. He resigned from his position in August, and then he came back And he said, look, I'm going to make this right. I can't do this. You guys are violating copyright infringement. And he thought it was wrong. And he was trying to do the right thing because OpenAI was taking advantage of so many different publications, so many different news outlets, and that's wrong. It's a violation of copyright. It would be the same thing as if they would use my book as a training module for ChatGPT, which is what they were doing. They were using people's copyrighted works as a training model for ChatGPT, and that's illegal. And they got caught red-handed. And Suchir had the whole case mapped out on his laptop, and so when this all happened, and then all this tech stuff disappeared from Suchir's apartment, especially the pen drive. I would love to find that pen drive because I'll guarantee you he had that on his person all the time. If that's where his case was being stored, that is key. And they did go through his entire laptop. Like I said, his apartment was ransacked. How are you going to come home and ransack your apartment and then kill yourself? It doesn't work like that. And any seasoned detective in any law enforcement branch is going to tell you this stinks to high heaven, and it does. There were signs of a struggle. Stuff's missing. His apartment was ransacked. There's blood spatter in all the rooms, and the angle of the trajectory of the bullet isn't even the right angle. So we have all these things, and this is what San Francisco did to this young man. And I can't in the right conscience sit here and say it's okay. This is not okay. This is not how America is supposed to work. This is exactly why we elected Donald Trump to office, to correct this corruption and to right these wrongs that liberalism and policies and big tech and big money has been able to manipulate our country for all these years now. It's time for that to stop. These guys, if they want to make money in our country, they're going to have to play by the rules. And in my personal opinion, my number one suspect is Sam Altman himself. I believe that if I would have access to his funds, I'm going to find a money trail that's going to lead to somebody who did this job. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say definitively that that's what happened. I could be wrong, but I believe in my intuition. I believe in my education. I believe that 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 = 4, and it is what it is. There's nothing that points to a suicide in this whole case, other than a medical examiner writing his name on a suicide sheet. So this is disturbing, and we shouldn't allow these things to happen. San Francisco, we all know, anybody who knows anything, California is its own entity, and they play by their own rules, and we're not. My attitude towards it was, well, if California fell off the map, or if they wanted to be their own country, sayonara. But the fact of the matter, it's not. But they seem to have their own law. They seem to only follow the laws that they want to follow, and then they recreate the laws they want, and that constantly violate the United States Constitution. They constantly violate their own state constitution, and they constantly violate the majority of their constituency. You have people like Nancy Pelosi and Gavin Newsom and Alex Schiff that are constantly in there manipulating their way through there and stealing money and using their influence to get what they want. And we have done nothing as a country to stop it. Nothing. And so when you have bright, brilliant young men like Suchir that's trying to do the right thing for humanity, that's trying to be a positive asset in this world that we live in, and this is what happens to them for trying to do the right thing in a state, a city, and in a world full of corruption. I'm not going to go anywhere. I promise this family from the get-go, I will look into it as best that I can, and I'll stand beside this family until the end. Big tech don't scare me. I don't. My show's called The Expendable Show for a reason, because in the face of doing the right thing, I'll be expendable for people. I'll take all the flack for everybody. And these little techie guys that think that, well, I got a couple $1 billion, so I'm powerful. You're not that powerful. I'm going to tell you that right now. You're nothing. You're nothing without a dollar sign. Your moral compass is wrong, and we see you for who you are. And with every ounce that I have, I will continue to expose you. I will continue to write books about you. And we will continue to try to recorrect this country and then this world, because things are ugly, and I don't like ugly things. I like character, and I like good, solid human beings. So that is going to wrap up my show for the day. And I want to, reach out to Suchir's parents once again and thank them for coming on the show. Please feel free to put your comments in the comment section. And everybody be safe out there. Keep your eyes open for this stuff, because a lot of stuff has happened since then. And I'm going to, as these go on, I'm going to continue to cover it. There's a whole money trail of things since Suchir's death that OpenAI has done, that if Suchir had whistleblown, it would have screwed up their whole going public investment thing. So I'm gonna follow that a little bit further, because Elon Musk has that kind of on a stop right now. But be safe out there. Know where your kids are at. Check in on your kids, and just be good human beings. All right, I'm out.